So how does your signal help in this situation if you're just buying it when it drops DCA or something?
Well, that's for your long-term holdings, right? So what our strategy, we're dealing with a 50x leverage Bitcoin play. We can't be betting on tweets and promises and I think now is the time. When the chart says, when the levels say, hey, this is our target price, then we're going to use that as our target price. And at some point, what's going to happen is that we follow this religiously, and then once the liquidity changes, we're over going to be in a long, and then we ride that long up to the blue sky levels. That's what it is. We don't have to rush. It's day by day, week by week. Peter, I can't believe it took me so many years just to wrap my head around this. I keep thinking to myself that the chart moves, Bitcoin chart moves 15% up. And I get confused by the narrative that, or used to get confused by the narrative people would have. That's like, oh, retail investors are really in. Oh, you're for what it is that big money, big institutions, they step into their positions. If they're going to buy $50 million worth of Bitcoin, they're not going to buy it all on a Tuesday. They have to buy it over time. And it really clicked for me. I knew this theoretically. This is what we based on the strategy on. But that clip from, I got to say that clip from Michael Saylor in the interview, when they ask him, journalists ask him in the middle of this whole conversation, hey, aren't you going to be like moving the price of Bitcoin? And he says, no, that either they're using an agency or something like that, and that they hide the purchases so that it doesn't dramatically move the price of Bitcoin. And I was like, that's the VWAP. That's exactly what it is. They're buying when the price dips down towards VWAP. They buy there, and you go, why did the Bitcoin price bounce exactly off this level that Tom's talking about? Like exactly. How did it just bounce from over there to where he said? What is going on? It's because it's some guy's job to sit there who has nothing to do with narratives or meme or anything like that. And his job is, I got to buy some Bitcoin, and he has to press the button and buy Bitcoin. And he has to buy it at that level. Because if he buys it at a level that's not that, he's got to pay the difference. Can you imagine that? You get a $50 million contract to buy some Bitcoin, and they go, you either buy it at the price, at this price or better, or you have to give me the Bitcoin and you have to swallow the difference. Of course, they have a system that's automatically there that's going to be buying at those levels. And it just stair steps. You're like, this is great. And I've noticed the same thing in gold. I've noticed the same thing in SPY and NASDAQ. It's all kinds of different patterns that exist in there as well. But as soon as you get any asset that has institutional investment or large liquidity, this is what's happening. So it doesn't happen on pharmaceutical stocks, on your ketamine holding or your cannabis. It doesn't happen there. It happens on.
Does it work on the
indices, on large purchases, large interest, large liquidity?
NFL, Super Bowl?
No, Peter. There's no volume weighted average price for that sort of thing.
You're not thinking fourth dimensionally, Marty.
We'll see. So, anyways, that's what I'm looking forward to. It's been a sideways week. We'll see if we get we should get to the target price is 97.4. Not super lucrative, but we want to see what happens around that price. We want to see if it breaks above and uses that as support. If it does, hold on to your britches, because I do think we're going to go to around 106. Liquidity is telling us a bounce of about 11%. But if that doesn't happen, 88 is still calling. The level's mitigated and OCD prices. Got to fill that gap. They don't like that gap. So we'll see what happens.